Hey folks, my guest today is Sami. He's the CEO and founder of a company called Shoel. He's been an entrepreneur for 15 years, started a web development agency while studying at the university, and now is building the firm focused on sales enablement. All right, Sami, you ready to take us to the top?
Hey Nathan, thanks for having me here
You
in the
bet you're in a
show.
hot space. Gong, outreach, sales loft. It's very competitive. How are you differentiating?
Actually, we are not competing against Gong and Salesloft, for example. So it's more about against Shopen and Highspot.
Great. You have
So
High Spot also a big company. What was the other one you mentioned?
Shopen,
Showpad and High Spot.
yeah.
Okay, so how are you differentiating? What's different?
Well, they are mostly targeting larger enterprises, while we are maybe targeting more small and medium-sized enterprises.
Okay, so
So it's
what's
a
the average customer paying you, would you say, per month?
15 to 50,000. Sorry, annually.
15,000 annually to 50,000 annually.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay, so about call it $1,000 to $2,000 per month.
yeah, exactly.
And tell me a little bit about the product. What do they paying for? What do they get?
So Shovel is a sales enablement tool. So what it means is that it provides the relevant and right content for sales teams at every step along the buying journey so that they are able to present and share the content with their prospects and clients.
Mhm. And where are you today in terms of customers? How many total?
We have about 300 customers right now.
300. When was the first one?
Yeah.
When'd you launch?
So we launched back in 2012. So we have been around for a while, although we kind of did a reset a couple of years ago when we raised our seed round.
How much was the seed?
1 million.
1 mil. And what year was that?
2019.
Why was 1 million the right amount to raise in 2019?
Well, it felt like right amount. We didn't want to raise more. We didn't want to raise less. Okay, then the COVID hit and things changed a little bit. So we were planning to open offices, couple of offices. We still do those, still do have those offices, but now things have, of course, changed a lot.
What valuation did you raise the million on?
About 6 million.
Okay, was it high or low at the time? Did you like that?
Mm, I thought it was okay at the time.
Do you remember how much revenue you were doing at that time?
A little less than 1 million.
1 million. Okay, wow, that's great. So how did you get your first customers back in 2012? Let's get the journey to a million.
Yeah, well, basically, as you said yourself, we had a web development agency. So we did have some customers. So customers came to us asking for a way how they could get their sales collateral into the iPads. So basically, we kind of just started building a beta versions and testing would it work. Seemed to work. So that lead us here.
Yep. Okay, so how big was the agency in like 2011? You remember how much revenue the agency did just by itself?
The agency back in 12 was maybe about 1 million, 1.5 million.
Okay, so not a small agency. Now is that shut? Do you shut down the
Yeah, maybe.
agency today?
No, it still exists, but we kind of this was a spin-off, but we completely separated those two companies a couple of years ago.
And when you say spin-off, what does that mean for the cap table? How much do you own?
Uh, well, I personally own about 1/3 of the of
Okay.
Showa.
And how much does the agency own?
Nothing.
Okay, who owns the other 66%?
Yeah, as I said, we raised seed round, so we have, of course, going to venture capital in the background, and then we have private owners who are also employees of the company.
Oh, very cool. So you let your employees buy, or is it a stock option pool? Basically, you give out equity.
We don't have actually currently a stock option plan. We have, kind of given the stock for some of the employees
I see.
previously. Yeah.
I see. Very cool. And it sounds like at 300 customers today and a $1,500 a month average price point, you're doing about $450,000 a month in revenue today?
Not actually, not actually that much, but we are getting there.
Okay. When do you think you'll
We
hit
are at,
that?
I would say that by the end of this fiscal year. So right now we are at about 3 million ARR.
Mm-hmm.
We don't calculate MRR that much, so it's not that relevant for us because customers pay us 12 months ahead, and there are always annual contracts.
Well, sure, but for financing, you just divide by 12 to back into your sort
Yeah,
of run
yeah.
rate. So about 250, 260 per month in revenue, or about a $3.2 million run rate. But again, most of that cash is up front. So you've been able to be then pretty cash efficient if it's always annual upfront payments.
Yeah, it's a really good situation at the moment. So the cash plus is good. So we
And
don't
so,
have that. Yeah,
and you've grown 3x since your $1 million raise at a $6 million valuation. What do you think you're worth today, valuation wise?
30 to 50 million.
And why that?
Well, just by looking at our customer base, we have really good logos, well known brands from all over the world. We have a really good growth rate at the moment. We also launched the world's first kind of a product led growth model, premium model, sales enablement tool just
Mm-hmm.
recently. So
And Sammy, what's the team size look like today? How many folks?
it's not a huge team. It's about 40 people.
40?
Yep.
How many engineers? Are you an engineer?
No, I'm not. I do kind of talk tech and I know some coding. We have about 1/4 of the people are engineers.
Okay, got it. So call it 10 of them are engineers. How many sales reps?
At the moment, we do have we have SDRs and account executives. So it's the total team size is about 10 to 12 at the moment.
How many of them are like actual AEs that carry a quota?
6.
6. So you have one SDR for one AE. That's the ratio.
Yep.
And you're the guy to ask this because you're sales enablement software. What quota do you set these 6 people at?
I'm sorry, could you repeat?
What quota do you give these 6 salespeople with?
Yeah, it depends on, of course, if the AE is a junior or senior, and when AE started. But I would say the average is about 150,000 to 200 annual.
That's what they have to sell, or that's what their on target earnings are?
That's kind of the minimum target.
So they need to sell $150,000 of new ARR each year.
Yeah, depending on, of course, if they're junior or senior. And if you're a senior, it's about 300.
Okay, but let's just do senior at 300. That a lot of AEs are paid like $100,000 bases. And then when they hit their $1 million quota for the year, they get another 100 grand on top of that. So they make 200K all in OTE. You usually want a 5-to-1 ratio there. So if you hold your 300K quota divided by 5, that means that means their full on target earning salary base plus commission is like around $70,000. I bet you pay people more than that.
Yeah, it's a kind of a, you have to remember that Showell is a Finnish company. So we are based in Finland. And because of the COVID, we did a big change in our strategy. So we kind of concentrated all our people in Finland. So the salary is not that high as it would be, for example, in the West Coast USA.
Mm-hmm. Got it. I mean, but now we're in a remote world. It also doesn't matter where you live. If you're a good AE, someone in San Francisco can hire you and pay you 200K
exactly.
per year.
Exactly. Yeah.
So how do you retain your best people when you're competing in a global marketplace now? How do they not get picked off?
Well, we do have most of the people placed in Finland right now. So it's about also the location where the office is. So we have the world's best healthcare, world's best education system. Okay, the tax rate is quite high, but then again, you get good services, nature, clean air, everything. Mm-hmm. So for us, it's more about the location.
Fair. Now, are you burning capital, say, or are you profitable?
We are slightly burning at the moment, but we are getting there.
What does slight burn mean? I'm talking 5 grand a month, 30 grand a month?
Yeah, it's about 5 grand a month.
Okay, so that's not horrible. Are you planning to raise right now, or are you going to stay with just $1 million?
We are actually planning to raise the next round, which
how much do you want to raise?
7 to 10 million.
And why is 7 to 10 million the right number?
It's right number because we want to go full ahead with kind of 2 kind of arrows or heads. So we first of all we want to use do the sales led growth, and we also want to do the product led growth. Mm-hmm. So we do need to hire new salespeople, but we also have to hire new engineers and really get the product itself into shape. where it can sell itself.
What's churn?
Churn is really low at the moment, so it's about 3.5
monthly or annual. That's very low.
Yeah.
And do you have more expansion revenue than that?
No.
Do you upsell customers more than the 3.5%? So your net retention?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So its NRR is about 112 at the moment.
Wow, congrats. That means you're expanding accounts by 16, 14, or 4% are churning. So net is 112. That's great. Yep. Do you know what you're paying fully weighted to get a new customer, your CAC?
Yeah, that's quite high. It's about 1.5 times, the annual income. So we're talking about, 20,000 at the moment.
Why is it so expensive?
Well, we have been growing quite rapidly now. So I'm talking about, the CAC since last 6 months. So we have hired, new people, new tools, like, we started to use outreach, for example, and many other tools. So, the expenses have also, grown a lot.
Great story here, Sami. Let's wrap up with the famous 5. Number 1, what's your favorite book?
I have to say that it's not a kind of typical business book. It's the story of Steve Jobs.
Yep. Number 2, is there a CEO you're following or studying?
I'm following quite many CEOs, and I have to say that I'm watching really closely, for example, the Showbed CEO Peter Chan, PJ, and but I can't say any particular CEO that I like the most, or what's the most.
Number 3, what's your favorite online tool for building Shoel?
I would say HubSpot is our number 1 tool.
Number 4, how many hours of sleep do you get every night?
I try to get 7 to 8.
Okay,
and I think I get it.
What's your situation? Married, single, kids?
Not single, not married. So between.
Not married. And how old are you? And any kids or no?
Yeah, I have 2 kids.
2 kids. How old are you?
How old?
You. How old are you?
I'm 42.
42. Last question. What's something you wish you knew when you were 20?
I kind of wish that I would have been maybe more, bolder in my actions and moves.
Guys,
so I was too cautious.
Guys, they launched an agency back in 2011. They ended up running it to $1 million agency before in 2012 launching a SaaS product. That SaaS product today passed $1 million run rate in 2019 when they raised $1 million round on a $6 million valuation. Now today they're at $3.2 million in ARR, looking to raise a $7 to $10 million round on a $30 to $50 million valuation. They have 300 customers, basically break even right now, 40 people on the team, 10 engineers. We will see what happens next. They are competing in a very hot space. Shoel's name of the company, Sales Enablement Software. Sami, thanks for taking us to the top.
Thanks for having me, and have a nice day.
One more thing before you go. We have a brand new show every Thursday at 1 p.m. Central. It's called Shark Tank for SaaS. We call it Deal or Bust. One founder comes on, 3 hungry buyers, they try and do a deal live, and the founder shares back-end dashboards, their expenses, their revenue, ARPU, CAC, LTV, you name it, they share it. And the buyers try and make a deal live. It is fun to watch every Thursday, 1 p.m. Central. Additionally, remember, these recorded founder interviews go live. We release them here on YouTube every day at 2 p.m. Central. To make sure you don't miss any of that, make sure you click the subscribe button below here on YouTube, the big red button, and then click the little bell notification to make sure you get notifications when we do go live. I wouldn't want you to miss breaking news in the SaaS world, whether it's an acquisition, a big fundraise, a big sale, a big profitability statement, or something else. I don't want you to miss it. Additionally, if you want to take this conversation deeper and further, we have by far the largest private Slack community for B2B SaaS founders. You want to get in there. We've probably talked about your tool if you're running a company, or your firm if you're investing. You can go in there and quickly search and see what people are saying. Sign up for that at nathanlatka.com /Slack. In the meantime, I'm hanging out with you here on YouTube. I'll be in the comments for the next 30 minutes. Feel free to let me know what you thought about this episode. And if you enjoyed it, click the thumbs up. We get a lot of haters that are mad at how aggressive I am on these shows, but I do it so that we can all learn. We have to counter those people. We got to push them away. Click the thumbs up below to counter them and know that I appreciate your guys' support. All right, I'll be in the comments. See ya.